So this is a mouse review of the VXE Dragonfly R1, basically the VGN R1 standard version for the mouse review separated. I have been using this mouse for a week for now. Okay, I have apology for my poor English because as you can tell, I'm not a native English speaker. I'm a Chinese. I live in mainland China, so I got this mouse very cheap. I bought it like the first batch for 13 US dollars in AliExpress, Chinese AliExpress, the Taobao. So it's a steal for the price. Okay. If you want to buy this thing, as far as I know, someone in Discord told me you can get it like 31 euros. So it's still very cheap because it should be the same price range because it's just basically the same as the VGN Dragonfly F1. The base version is the same internals about this thing. This thing internals is kind of overall upgrade than the original F1, just a different shape. The F1 Pro, basically the same thing. It's just not the MCU. The F1 Pro's update, the R1 Pro, but there are some few changes I will mention in the later of the video. But still, let's talk about this thing for now. It should cost around like $40 in Mackie, I think. Yeah, $40 in Mackie. The Pro version should be cost around like $50, just $10 more expensive, but you will get a better MCU, better battery life, something like that, etc. First thing, let's talk about shape, which is the most interesting thing about the mouse, which is the reason I bought it. It's a claw grip shape. The sides, the curvature resembles a lot like the Pulsar X2. The back hump, the narrower grip, the narrower weight, and the narrower hump reminds me of the Sora. It's basically a mixture of the Ninja's Sora and the Pulsar X2. So you can see it yourselves in the arrow shapes, which has the data now for a while now. Okay, so the hump, the curvature of this mouse, as we can see in this picture, the white line is R1, which is the whole series R1, the same shape, and the green line is the Pulsar X2, and the red line is the Sora. As you can see, the curvature is basically identical to the Pulsar X2, a little bit. Just the bottom height should be a little bit higher, and even the screw wheel placement is the same place, but only a little bit different than most of the XM1 like shape. This mouse like XM2WE and the Atlantis, Lanzu Atlantis, the Ironclad HBC01M, the Sora, the X2. This mouse has a small screw wheel, but this thing has a very big screw wheel. So the screw wheel is bigger. I don't know if that is a very important thing to you because the small screw wheel can roll a lot of lines, just one screw. But a large screw wheel can fill more steps if it's same screw mechanism, I think. But for me, it's just fine. It doesn't change much things for me. This is about the side, and the side is more neutral design, as you can see here. You can see that it's more neutral design. It doesn't incline that much as other mouses like Atlantis or the XM1R or the XM2 Wireless Essential. It won't incline that much. So a neutral design, so you can relax claw grip, a little bit aggressive, or just somewhere in the middle. Okay, so you can have all the thing you want just for the one shape. So it will fit in more hands. This is good design choices for the company because it can fit more hands, so it can sell more for more people, and it will receive a better overall rating, something like that. That's about the sides. When you look at the size of the mouse, that's what you can see. But there's another interesting thing about it is when you look at the overhead. Can you see that? You can see it in here. The overall width of the mouse is much more narrower. Can you see that? It's much more narrower than the X2, the green line. It's more like Ninja Sora. You can see it as size 1.5 X2 in some ways. It's not X2 mini, it's not X2, but X2 medium. but it's more like a Sora. In fact, as you can see the side button placement just as the Sora. You can see that overlaps perfectly. The set button a little bit forward, because there's a reason for this, because the X2 and the original X2 XM1R shape, the hump is much more wider, so it will support you. The two part will support more support, so it will be feel more control of the mouse. But the Sora and the R1 has a more narrower closing at the end of the mouse. You can see that it's closing at the end of the mouse, so narrower hump, so it will feel more freely in your hand. I'm a 18.5 by 9 centimeters hand. It's a medium size, a kind of meaty hand, so this feels nice for me personally, because I don't like to have too much contacts on my these two part of the muscles. I don't know how to say this in English medically. And this has another good thing about this is if you have a little bit small hand or a little bit larger hand, you can use the mouse perfectly, in my opinion. And for me, I even can fingertip this thing. You see that? I can even fingertip this thing. So it's a versatile mouse, kind of versatile for your claw grip. It's great. It feels more freely. If you really like the XM1R or Atlantis or something like that, the wider hump, I don't think this is for you. But if you want to try a more narrow hump of the mouse and don't want to waste too much money, this could be your choice. But overall, I think it's a great shape for claw grip. For gaming, it's a great shape. And about the shape, about the design, the design is really good, really great, but still some issues, because it's the first batch from a little manufacturer, little company. So there's still some issues from the first batch, but I think it might be fixed in later batch. Which is when you can get it from the overseas official website or Mackie, some website like that. Overseas sellers, when you can get it, it should be later batch, so it might solve these problems. Okay. The first issue about it is that the side buttons. Can you see that? The design of the side buttons is very straight. It's a straight line. But most of the gaming mouse nowadays have a curvature of the side buttons. Any mouse I can get a hand now. I have a few more mouse in my storage, but this is what I can get a hand now. This mouse, you can see there's a curvature. There's a curvature of the mouse side button. It's curved. So when you put your thumbs around the side buttons, it will evenly intact with your thumb. You see that? But this shit design, I don't know why they do this. Maybe just to not provoke legal issues with the design. They designed it straight, so when you use it like normally, I will get more uneven contact with the mouse side buttons. And what makes it even worse is that my copy of the mouse, my forward buttons pre-travel is very obvious. You see that? It has a severe pre-travel for my forward button, but not as much on the backward button. So it really ruined my experience when I spam the side buttons in some games like Apex Legends or Fortnite OG. So not very good side button design, and some issues about the pre-travel, post-travel, the uneven feeling, the inconsistency of the side buttons. That's a very hard downside, minus point I have to say about it. And there are QC issues about the mode. First, a very severe issues is that can you see that the right mouse button, when I place it very horizontally, can you see that when you get this thing out of box, most people have an issue is that the right mouse button is tilted inward. Yes, this is what it will look like when you just open it out of box. It tilted inward, so it gets very close to the scroll wheel, which the scroll wheel is also not aligned with the center of the mouse. It's kind of moved a little bit right. Can you see that? So this part of the scroll wheel is nearly contact each other. So it might worries about many people that it might when you use it for a long time, it will scratch each other and makes it ruin your experience about the mouse. My copy is close to that, but hasn't happened yet. But still, it's worrying me a lot. It hasn't scratched that yet, but I don't know. It might happen in future. And there is some people reported that it has already happened in their copy of the mouse, as I can show you in this clip. This customer has bought a VXE R1 Pro, the Pro version, which has a Nordic MCU, which is more expensive. As you can see, his mouse. The part I was describing about has already contacted each other, which scratching each other makes it feels weird. This should be a molding issue, which is the plastic mold itself. The first batch has some defect. This is the first issue that really ruin your experience. The second issue is more, how do I say it, a looking problem. Can you see that? This is the non-coating version of the R1. So you can see it's very rough plastic. And so it works fine, but it doesn't feel as good as coatings. About the look, the gaps around the main buttons and the case itself is kind of big. I know you will say you didn't see any big gaps, because I noticed this when they announced this thing. They preview it, some viewer previewed it, Chinese reviewer previewed it, so I noticed the thing. Many people noticed is that the gap is really huge when you light it up. So I choose the black one, so it won't look so obvious, but you light it up, you can see that. Can you see that? You can see the board now. The gap's very huge. It's not small. Even though a lightweight mouse has some issue like this, but this one is kind of much more severe. My copy is kind of better in this situation, but if someone gets a bad copy of this, it might be very gross for them. Okay, so I recommend you to buy the black one, so the gaps won't be so obvious and won't ruin your experience. This thing can be very easily observed when you charging this thing. The LED light up. You can see the light in the gaps. So not very good design choices, but still a good mouse for the price, for the budget. Okay. This is about the shape and some design flaws. And as you can see, the mouse gate is basically one-to-one copy to the Pulsar. So you can basically think this thing as a much cheaper but a little bit better build quality first batch OG Pulsar X2, because they are all use the same MCU or because the same thing, just a little bit change, but just half the price. Okay. For me, this is like 20% of the original price. That's the thing. Or you can think it as Sora, but a little bit different. Basically, it's more like a Sora in some way, a neutral Sora. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. And about the clicks. Now you are hearing from the phone, the iPhone SE, second generation second generation. So it should be represent more neutral sound, or what you can hear from a phone, or from a quick video, from mouse review. So you can compare it more objectively, I think. Subjective. This is the right or left mouse button, right scroll wheel. As you can tell, there is some hollow sound and a little bit unevenly sound on the main buttons and the side buttons. The side button is more obvious, but in hands it feels okay. The main buttons, the implementation of the main buttons are good enough. The scroll wheel, the mid buttons, it's a 3-pin switches for the mid buttons, so it feels much more better in this price range. Okay, so I personally think it's okay. For the main button, the side button has issues. for my specific one has issues. Basically is the pink Wano switches is the same as the Dragonfly F1 mobile, so it is a upgrade from F1 itself. This is about the standard version. The only difference is between is the standard version and the Pro version have the same switches. The SE has worse switches, and the Pro Max has I don't know. It should be worse switches because it's using much more stiffer with switches. Just a change of color of the GM8, the Black Mamba 8 million that switches, 80 million that switches isn't really great. In my opinion, isn't really great. This implementation is very great. So my opinion about this, the performance is flawless on my experience, but I can't say for you because as you can see, I play the Vortex benchmark for like 2 weeks now. I haven't get in plat yet, and I didn't get gold complete, so I'm not a very expert in aiming, in controlling mouse, so I can't say that it is really flawless experience. What I can tell is from what I know, the internal MCU, the sensor, this basically same thing with F1 series, and Tech Power Up has review on that mouse, the F1 Pro Max, and its performance flawlessly, just like Razer's and VXE, the real VXE, and Logitech. Okay, for our Chinese brand, the performance is flawless. I mean, in this price range, you can't pick anything up. But basically, this Chinese brand has issues with is their 4K polling rate. It's not as good as good as the Razer. But what can you say? It's a budget. It's on budget. Okay, you can't expect much when you have only a limited budget. That's the whole thing. But for this budget, it's a great mouse. Personally think, in my opinion. Okay, about something about the interesting about the mouse is first, the weight. The website says the R1 SE and the R1 both weighs around 51 grams, but this thing in fact it weighs the same. The standard version weighs the same as the Pro version, which is 48 grams. Let me show you. This is without the caps of the receiver. Not focusing, but you can see it's 48.4 grams. And with the cap, 48.7 grams. So it's basically the same weight as the R1 Pro, which is with coating, which is quite funny, but still a very lightweight for the price range, very competitive. Okay, so they have cut down the battery size, just like what you will get from a F1. It's a 250 milliamp battery, and with more power consuming MCU, complex MCU, it lasts around a full charge lasts around half a week. So every week, exactly two charges a week. So it's okay for this weight and this battery and this MCU. But if you get Nordic one, which is in my opinion the R1 Pro, the same battery, but Nordic MCU, it will last you around 2 weeks just recharge, or even 1 week one charge, and which is much better experience. Okay, they are same weight, and R1 Pro has coding. This one don't have coding, so it depends. But personally, I think unless you can get much cheaper on the standard version, I will recommend you to buy R1 Pro, because R1 Pro should be priced the same as the F1 Pro. It's $50, only $10 more expensive. But when it comes to Pro and the standard version, the R1, the differences is very large. Because when it comes out of the box, the R1 only comes with the warranty card, pamphlet menu, which is the R1 series menus, so it works for the all, but not specific one. And it only comes with a cable, the receiver, and nothing else. The case itself, it has no protection, just cardboard, so it might scratch your mouse. But the R1 Pro has a bigger case, and with much more protection. And it comes with extra set of mouse feet, the Pro, and a pair of the laser skin, the grip type. So for $10 more or a little bit more euros, I don't know how much. You will get actual set feet, extender, and better box. Some grip tape. Not very good grip tape. You know that this price, this and the grip tape is bad, but it comes with coating. A Nautic MCU, 4K polling rate support, and better battery life. Alright, so I recommend you to just add $10 more, which in your overseas stores like Mackeys or the overseas official website, it should be more cost efficiency one. Okay, the Nautic MCU performs much little bit better than the compact one. I don't think you should save this $10 on this. Okay, and don't buy the MIC. That one comes with 33 rebranded 3335, which is old mid-range sensors. I won't recommend that because it won't be much cheaper, but it will have a lot of discount, a lot of drawback on the performances. I won't recommend that. Okay. The only thing I recommended is the R1 Pro. If you really tight on budget, you can choose one, but please don't buy them without warranty or without warranty. Okay, and don't buy it in the first batch. It could be problematic. Some issues cannot be fixed by just some handiwork. No, it can not be fixed. It need to be fixed from the source, which is their mold. The plastic mold should be fixed. So don't buy the first batch. Overall, the quality is good. As you can see, quality is good. It won't flex. Okay, it's not like a ultralight X. It's real plastic and it's built like a tank. It won't flex. Okay, so you don't worry about that. The only thing you're worried about is your pocket. Okay, how much money you have and how much budget you have and what you should choose. I personally recommend R1 Pro. Okay, $10 a lot better. $10 a lot better and a lot more accessory to enhance the experience. So basically that's all I want to say, I think. Oh, about the accessory I guess is plus point. I want to say that the stock skate for this price is nice. I personally think it's pure PTFE material, and the design, they copy the design, so it should be feel just the same as the Pulsar Duo. And one more thing about this is that the lenses, in fact, both the company choose the same manufacturer. They are the same, come out from the same factory. The design should be come from the same factory. Okay. There's some interesting issue about this is that the Metroid's base is really soft, so you can see it will scratch very easily on the side, even on the soft mousepad. And for the same price range, the mousepad on this thing is much better. And the interesting thing about this is the lens. Can you see the opening of the lens? Mine choose a bigger lens opening, just like other similar mouse at this price range. The big lens opening makes it much easier to get dust on the lenses, which will influence your performance of the mouse, the sensors. But VXE is very smart. They choose a smaller opening like the Razer and the Logitech, so it won't get much dust in there. So it will feel consistent for a very long time. Okay, it's a great design. So my point is, this company knows what gamers need, but they cannot build a very good mod. They have QC issues, but it is a good product. I think a later batch should fix these issues, so it will be a great competitive to the Pulsars, Soras, even the endgame gears. Okay, this design, the shape has captured the essential of the Junior's design, so I will say it's a great mouse if it can fix those issues. Okay, that's the whole thing. Another thing is about the cable. The cable comes with this mouse. The standard version don't have the extender, so you have to buy it yourself. Blah blah blah. That you should consider yourself, because compact isn't very great for his transmission distance and connection, the continuity, stability is not very good. It's not good as Nordic, so that's why I recommend you to buy R1 Pro, which has a Nordic MCU and just the same battery, a better battery life. Okay. Oh, interesting about this is that the cable comes with the mouse is good quality for this price range. Very good quality. It's usable when you use it in wired mode. It's much better than what comes with the Mitros A5. This thing comes with a shit stock cable, which is like I don't know why they do this, but it's shit on this mouse. But this, the VXR1's stock wired, the parachute cable, it's good, decent. You have to a little bit pressure on it to fully intact contact with the pins. It's kind of stiff around the cable, but it's nice. So I want to say much about this. You can use it in wired mode easily. Won't infect your experience a lot. You can use it as a wired mouse if you don't like the wireless mouse. I know someone don't like wired mouse. They get out the batteries just to have a lighter mouse and use the wire. That's something I know. The good thing about this is another trick you can do is that the head of the Type C, the plastic head of the Type C isn't very stiff. It is plastic C. I don't know how to say. You can bend it a little, as I can show you. Bend it a little and then stay bended. So when you charge the mouse, use it in wired mode, it will stay lifted. You can see that? It will still lifted. It will lift it a little bit from the surface of your mouse pad, so it won't stretch a lot and feel nicer. These are little tricks. And there's also downsides about the stock feed and the cable, which is you can see the head is very small. The power, how do I say? The charging port, the plastic is support of charging port is also very small. So you can't use something like your phone's Type C cable to charge this thing because it might be too large to get in there. That's some issues you should notice about. So don't get lost on your stock cable or break it. That might cost you money to. You have to buy a smaller head parachute cable or buy it from the VXE themselves, which will cost you more. Okay, so don't get loose of that. And the stock feed, it has an issue about it. Is that the lower one, the U-shaped one, it will stretch your mouse pad on the edge. It wasn't much, but I think it's mostly because it's the plastic edge of this thing is kind of sharp. So if you put a lot of pressure on the mouse pad, which when you use a softer pad, a thicker softer pad, extra soft, it will kind of scratch your pad surface. That could be some issues for some people because they use a more expensive pad. That could be some issues. So you might need to change the stock pad even though they works fine. And it's one of those issues. And about something I worry about is they say the cheaper version, the standard version, and the SE version. They use the compact 52850 SE MCU. They could support 2K polling rates, wireless polling rates, if you buy a 2K dongle, which isn't out yet. I'm worried about is that first, this is a new field for the compact 2K polling rate. I'm not sure it is stable or something like that. It's problematic. It should be okay. So I won't recommend you to buy this thing and buy a 2K dongle if it was out. Why? It's because the 3335, which is implemented in the SE version, they called it the 3395 SE, isn't originally supported 2K polling rate because 3335 has very slow computing speed. A sensor, I don't know how they do that. The cosmos of that thing is quite small. I don't know how they do this. That's a last generation sensor. I don't think it really could do this. And the weirdest thing is that the SE version in the driver menu, they offered a motion sync. They offered a motion sync function, but it doesn't work. So I'm doubting on that. In the SE version, they have the movement synchronization option, but some people tested with the mouse tester. In the SE version, the 3335 doesn't support it originally, and it doesn't work. It just have a switch, but it doesn't work at all. So I'm doubting that the 2K polling rate for the standard version and R1 SE version could be a fake 2K, just like Corsair's Dummy 2K. So I won't recommend you to buy the 2K polling rate, especially when you consider the more power consuming complex MCU, the 35 is more power consuming, and the little battery in the mouse. I really won't recommend you to do that. It costs you more, but won't get you much. Okay, and the funny thing about this is why I recommend you to buy the R1 Pro is that the R1 Pro support, because it's the same company and the same manufacturer, basically the same internals, just with different switch and a different shape. The R1 Pro and R1 Pro Max with the Nordic MCU support 4K polling rate. They also support the VGN Dragonfly F1's 4K dongle, and someone tested and it works. So if you have already bought a Dragonfly F1 Pro Max with the 4K dongle and you don't like the shape but want a great grip shape, then congratulations, you save money by new 4K dongle. You can just use the same dongles, just repairing the mouse again. Okay, the same thing. You're repairing the mouse in the settings, then you will go. You will have a free 4K support for this mouse. Okay, and when to be honest, it's hard to get a 4K dongle for this brand now. So if you get one, then you have 2K polling rate mouse. Okay, so I recommend you to buy R1 Pro. Don't buy the R1 Pro Max or the R1 SE, because R1 Pro Max is just basically a better battery and the stiffer switches. The SE is basically scan. It's not 3395. It's a scan. Okay, the cheaper 3395 is the standard version, but they have a shortcoming. The best, most cost efficiency variant is R1 Pro. Please buy the R1 Pro, and if you really worry about the gaps, please buy the black ones. Okay, and about the software is the same. The whole thing is the same. No difference. The only downside is that you can't rebrand your remap your D-pad buttons. This is a shortcoming for someone. For me, okay, you can't remap the D-pad buttons. Well, you can do this on other mouses, so it might be problematic, but still, not too much bad thing to say. The driver is the same, not much difference, and it updates oftenly. And there is a problem, is that the F1 and which the VGN's brand Combax mouse, the mouse they use in Combax MCU, they really get updates for the firmware, while the Nordic ones get firmware updates and performance improvements. So please just spend $10 more to buy a R1 Pro. Okay, and this one weird thing about their product line is that the Nordic MCU supports Bluetooth themselves, but they don't provide that on the R1 Pro and R1 Pro Max. The R1 Pro Max only have the 2.4 GHz wireless mode and the wired mode, but there's the cheaper version. The R1 standard version, and the R1 SE support Bluetooth. So if you use Bluetooth so often, like you use a Mac and PC, you may need to worry about this. So this is an issue that you should be worried about, because the more expensive one don't support Bluetooth, even though the MCU supports Bluetooth. I don't know why. Maybe some firmware issue at the early stages. I don't know why. I think it's very stupid.